The Mavic 3 is currently arguably the best prosumer drone on this planet, and it just got even better. Let me tell you why. Hi, welcome to Drone On. My name is Steven Peters and I've been a pilot for over 5 years already, where I shoot mostly during my holidays and during the road trips that I partake, the beautiful natural landscapes. And with this channel that I'm starting, I'm hoping to help you guys create more better cinematic footage. And I will also do some drone reviews, and I will share the footage that I shoot with you on this channel as well. So if this is something that interests you, then hit that like button and also smash that subscribe button, and make sure you click that little bell notification so you don't miss out on any new videos. Now, why is the Mavic 3 getting even better? Well, it is the first drone in the world that has just gotten the C1 certification approval for the European Union. And this is a big deal. But before we get into why this is a big deal, you need to understand a little bit about how this all works here in our little neck of the woods. So before the new regulations came into effect in 2020, the European Union and Europe in general were a bunch of tiny countries, and each country had its own regulations. That meant that even though I was a Class 1A certified drone pilot in Belgium, I was not able to fly commercially in other countries without getting a certification in that other country. So that was kind of a hassle, and the European Union, they also saw that, so they actually created a general regulation where if you are certified in one country, you are certified for all countries within the European Union and a couple of other countries such as Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein. So basically all over Europe, we can fly now legally and do commercial operations. So that is awesome. But why is it then such a great news for the Mavic 3? Well, you have to think of the categories where we are flying in. So you have three main categories in the open category. There are three subcategories that are there, and this is what most people will be flying in. So you have the A1 category, which is a category where you can fly over people that are involved. You can also fly over uninvolved people, but you should definitely limit that. Even if it is allowed, you should always limit flying directly over people. Then you have the A2 category where you need a specific license, which I have also, so I'm A2 certified, but you need a specific license to be able to fly in that category. And that is for the intermediate drones such as the Mavic Pro, the Mavic 2 Pro, the Mavic 3 at the moment. And that means that you have to stay 50 meters from people and objects. So that is definitely quite a bit away, but especially with the Mavic 3 with the zoom lens, that should not be a problem, but I'll come back to that. Now, there's also the A3 category where you have to stay 150 meters away from people and objects. So that means that you can basically only use it for landscape photography and filming, because you have to be so far away from things that you can not use it within the city, for example. And that is an important factor, because at the moment, all drones that are on the market are legacy drones. That means that they do not adhere to those C labels. And that means that up until the end of 2023, you can fly the Mavic 2 Pro, the Mavic Pro, for example, or the Air 2S. You can fly those in the A2 category. For which you need a specific license, so a lot of people don't go through that, and that limits where they can fly. Because if you say, okay, I can not fly within the A2, then you fall to A3 category, which means you have to stay 150 meters away, and that limits you in your creative opportunities. As of 2024, each and every legacy drone that is over 250 grams is going to fall into the A3 category, having to stay really far away from people and objects, basically rendering those drones a lot more limited and in some cases almost useless. For the sub 250 gram category, like the DJI Mini 3 Pro, nothing will change and you will still be able to fly over people. You will be able to fly close to people and do whatever you can today with that drone. So That is also one of the main reasons why, after having owned the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic Pro, I switched to the DJI Mini 3 Pro because of the changing regulations. Now, over the past almost year, I've really been looking forward to owning the Mavic 3 because it's a beast of a drone. Yes, it's expensive, but it's a beast of a drone that could suit every single need that I have for a drone. And that makes it really interesting. It's also really pricey, so that is one factor that kept me away from it. Another one is that it belongs in the A2 category at the moment, limiting where I can fly. So for example, if I want to come up close to a house, for example, if I do some real estate work, then technically I cannot do that. Legally, I cannot do that because I need to stay 50 meters away from that property. So that makes it a little bit difficult, and that's the reason, another reason why I bought the Mini 3 Pro, to be able to do such assignments. Now, it is important to know that the C1 category label is awarded to drones up to 900 grams, and the Mavic 3 is actually 899 grams for the Cine version, with the regular version being a little bit lighter. So it's just below that threshold, while the Mavic 2 Pro was 907 grams, and that was over that threshold. So that would still remain within that A2 category. But now that it can get the C1 certification, that means that the Mavic 3 can also fly in the A1 category, flying over people that are involved or accidentally over uninvolved people. It's all legal. So it's being put more or less on the same basis as the Mini 3 Pro. And that is awesome because it opens up so much more possibilities, and it opens up also for more people to fly this drone because you don't need that specific license. Now, to get that certification, that C1 certification, you do need to get a firmware download. You have to voluntarily request it with DJI to be certified for that with your drone, because the drone or the update comes with a few limitations. The first one is that with active track, you cannot be further away from the subject than 50 meters. Now, I personally use active track quite a lot with my car, and 50 meters is really close. Usually, when I'm driving in an open landscape, I put it to the side a little bit, and I have it follow me from the side, or maybe with a point of interest going around it. And yeah, that makes it more difficult because you cannot create that vast landscape view, or it's a lot more difficult to get that done. So I'm really curious with that limitation how this is going to affect the way that I shoot these videos. Now, a second point is that the decibel, the noise, is going to be lowered a tiny bit. So normally the Mavic 3 is about 83 to 85 decibels. They have to lower it to a maximum of 83 decibels. Now, I talked to DJI support and they actually confirmed me that this limitation will not affect the performance of the drone in any way, shape or form. Now, a third point is the auxiliary LEDs that are at the bottom of the drone. So they will have to go on automatically depending on the situation. And the fourth one is that the front arms, the LEDs on the front arms, are going to be on the whole time during the flight. So that could be a potential issue when you're doing night flights, which is now allowed as well, and you are shooting some reflective surfaces. You will see the blinking LEDs on the front arms. But we'll have to see what that means in reality. But this makes the Mavic 3 a very interesting drone for European owners, because it will be allowed for many years to come, even after 2024, where the other drones or the legacy drones have to fall into the A3 category. This one can still remain in the A1 category, allowing you to do a lot more close-up flying. Of course, we always have to keep it safe. That is the most important factor when flying a drone. You can have really good footage of everything you want, but taking risk, especially with people involved in the area, with aircraft involved in the area, is just not done. So there you have it. I'm really looking forward to owning the Mavic 3. I am going to wait until later the year, maybe to get that reassurance that the firmware is out and can go for that C1 certification. But on the other hand, Black Friday is in a few weeks, so that's also interesting to see if they might have a deal on the Mavic 3 at that point. But definitely I want to own that drone because, as I said, it is just a beast that will cater to all my needs that I will ever have for a drone in my personal experience. So again, if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and make sure you click that little bell icon so you don't miss out on any new videos. And for now, thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. And in the meantime, drone on.